Have you ever stopped to question the origin of Christmas traditions? Every December, millions of people across the globe celebrate Christmas, a festival adorned with twinkling lights, decorated trees, and shiny ornaments. It's a time of joy and togetherness, a celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ, or so we've been led to believe. But what if I told you that the roots of these traditions are not as holy as you might think? What if they were not born in Bethlehem, but are instead deeply rooted in ancient pagan rituals, borrowed, adapted, and repackaged by early Christians? Intrigued? Shocked, perhaps? This journey is not for the faint-hearted. Let's take a closer look into the controversial origins of our beloved Christmas traditions, unearthing the paradoxes and ironies hidden beneath the festive cheer. Prepare to have your beliefs challenged. To fully grasp this topic, we first need to understand what paganism is. Paganism, a term first used in the 4th century by early Christianity, was initially intended to ridicule non-believers of monotheism. The term has since evolved and is now used to denote a variety of pre-Christian, nature-oriented religious traditions. Paganism encompasses a rich tapestry of beliefs and practices, often tied to the cycles of nature and the reverence of the natural world. It's not a single unified religion, but rather an umbrella term for many spiritual paths that are rooted in indigenous, earth-based expressions of faith. These faith expressions are as diverse as the cultures from which they originate. From the Norse pantheon of gods like Odin and Thor, worshipped by the Vikings, to the Roman deities like Jupiter and Mars, each culture had its unique pantheon and practices. Paganism differs significantly from monotheistic religions like Christianity. While Christianity is centered around the worship of one god, pagan traditions often venerate a pantheon of gods and goddesses, each with their unique domains and responsibilities. Pagan rituals and practices were often directly linked to the natural world. The changing of the seasons, the cycles of the moon, and the rhythm of the earth were all deeply significant. These natural cycles were seen as expressions of the divine, and were often marked with rituals and celebrations. Paganism also places a high value on the direct, personal experience of the divine, often through meditation, ritual, and nature communion. It's a spirituality that encourages individual exploration and interpretation, which is another stark contrast to the prescriptive doctrines of monotheistic religions. Another key aspect of paganism is its reverence for the feminine divine, often symbolized by a goddess. This is in contrast to the predominantly masculine depiction of the divine in Christianity. So when we talk about the pagan roots of Christmas traditions, we're exploring how these earth-based polytheistic traditions have influenced and shaped the practices of a monotheistic holiday. With this understanding of paganism, we can now delve deeper into the origins of Christmas traditions. The roots of many Christmas traditions can be traced back to pagan cultures. Let's journey back in time when winter was a season of dread for ancient people. The sun, their source of warmth and life, was fading away, leading them to the cold grasp of winter. To combat this, they celebrated the winter solstice, the shortest day and longest night of the year, as a symbol of the sun's rebirth. One of these celebrations was the Festival of Brumalia, a month-long feast leading up to the winter solstice. It was a time of indulgence and merriment, dedicated to the Roman god Saturn. Now imagine this. The climax of this festival fell on December 25th, the day we now know as Christmas. This date was also considered the birthday of the unconquerable sun, a concept worshipped by many cultures. The sun was seen as a powerful, life-giving entity, a symbol of hope and rebirth. It's no coincidence that one of the epithets of Jesus is the Son of Justice. In the 4th century, Pope Julius I made a decision that would forever intertwine Christianity and these pagan traditions. He declared December 25th as the official celebration of Jesus' birth. But why this date? The Bible doesn't specify when Jesus was born, and some theories suggest dates like January 6th, April 17th, March 28th, and even September 11th. Pope Julius I, in an effort to Christianize these pagan traditions, chose a date that coincided with these existing festivals. It was a strategic move designed to ease the transition of pagans into Christianity by aligning the celebration of Jesus' birth with their own long-held traditions. But what are the implications of this decision? For one, it suggests a level of syncretism or blending of religious beliefs that challenges the monotheistic nature of Christianity. By adopting pagan traditions, the early church was, in a way, acknowledging the power and significance of these other gods. Furthermore, the Pope's decision could be seen as a form of cultural appropriation, taking the traditions of one culture and repackaging them under a different guise. This raises questions about the originality of Christian practices. If they borrowed these traditions from pagans, could the same be said about the text of the Bible? Could it too be borrowed from other ancient cultures? Some may argue that the choice of December 25th was simply a practical decision, a way to convert pagans to Christianity. But does the end justify the means? By aligning the celebration of Jesus' birth with pagan festivals, did the Church unintentionally dilute the significance of Jesus' birth, reducing it to just another winter solstice celebration? And what about the Roman Pope's role in this decision? The Romans were known for their polytheistic beliefs, worshipping a multitude of gods and goddesses. By choosing to celebrate Jesus' birthday on the climax of Brumalia, was the Pope subtly perpetuating these polytheistic traditions under the guise of Christianity? The date of Jesus' birth is not the only aspect of Christmas with pagan origins. As we will explore in a few minutes, many modern Christmas traditions, from kissing under the mistletoe to decorating with holly, have their roots in pagan cultures. So, as we deck the halls and sing carols this Christmas, let's remember the rich tapestry of history that has shaped this holiday. It's a reminder that our traditions are not born in isolation, but are a product of centuries of cultural exchange and evolution. And perhaps, just perhaps, it's a call to reevaluate our understanding of Christmas, to see it not just as a Christian holiday, but as a celebration of humanity's enduring hope for light, life, and rebirth. Many of our beloved Christmas traditions have their roots in pagan practices. Let's start with one of the most iconic Christmas traditions, kissing under the mistletoe. This tradition hails from the ancient Druids, who held the mistletoe in high regard. To them, it symbolized vivacity and fertility, as it remained green even in the harshest of winters. During their winter solstice celebrations, the Druids would hang mistletoe branches to ward off evil spirits. But the romantic connotation of the mistletoe comes from Norse mythology. Frigga, the goddess of love and beauty, declared the mistletoe a symbol of love after her son Balder was resurrected from the dead. From then on, it was customary to kiss under the mistletoe as a sign of love and lasting friendship. Another tradition we've come to associate with the festive season is hanging ornaments on a Christmas tree. This practice can be traced back to the Roman festival of Saturnalia, held in honor of the god Saturn. During this festival, Romans would adorn their homes and temples with decorative ornaments. These ornaments, called oscilla, often bore the image of a god or goddess and were believed to bring good fortune. In this context, it's interesting to note that we still hang ornaments, albeit with different representations, on our Christmas trees. The tradition of decorating with holly is another practice with pagan origins. The Druids, Celts, and Romans used holly in their winter solstice celebrations. The Druids and Celts believed that holly warded off evil spirits and brought good luck. The Romans, on the other hand, associated holly with their sun god Saturn and would gift holly wreaths during Saturnalia. The Christian adoption of this practice is an example of how the early church incorporated pagan symbols to ease the transition to Christianity. Now, let's talk about jolly old Saint Nick, better known as Santa Claus. The figure of Santa Claus is a fusion of various figures and legends, including the Christian Saint Nicholas, the English Father Christmas, and the Dutch Sinterklaas. But one of the key influences on the modern image of Santa Claus is the Norse god Odin. During the Yule, a pagan winter festival, children would fill their boots with straw and carrots for Odin's eight-legged horse, Sleipnir. In return, Odin would leave gifts or candy, a practice that is strikingly similar to our modern tradition of hanging stockings for Santa Claus to fill. This isn't the only Yule tradition that has found its way into modern Christmas celebrations. Wassailing, a practice of visiting houses and singing in exchange for food and drink, is reminiscent of today's caroling. However, the origins of wassailing are far from the wholesome tradition we know today. Wassailers, often rowdy and intoxicated, were known to kick down doors, threaten to defile women, and often resorted to violence to get their hands on the best food and drinks. A similar tradition existed in Finland, where people worshipped Beiwe, the goddess of the sun, fertility, and sanity. They built a sleigh made of reindeer bones for Beiwe to ride on her journey across the sky. The white reindeer that pulled Beiwe's sleigh is uncannily reminiscent of Santa's reindeer. The Germanic peoples also had their own Yule traditions, which included decorating trees for Odin. Trees held a sacred significance for the Vikings and Saxons, who often worshipped in groves of trees. The triangular shape of the evergreen trees symbolized the Holy Trinity in Viking and Saxon cultures, a symbolism that could have been adopted by the Christian faith. The adoption of these pagan traditions by the Christian Church wasn't always smooth. There were times when Christmas was banned due to its pagan influences. However, these traditions have survived and continue to be celebrated, albeit with new meanings and contexts. The pagan roots of these traditions are undeniable. The incorporation of pagan traditions into a Christian holiday has far-reaching implications. The Christian faith, centered around the worship of one God, seems to have adopted practices from pagan cultures that worshipped multiple deities. The irony here is palpable. We're looking at a faith that has been built on the rejection of polytheism, yet it has wholeheartedly embraced traditions that stem from that very belief system. Consider the act of kissing under the mistletoe. This seemingly innocent tradition has its roots in pagan rituals that involved sexual acts and symbolism. It's a stark contrast to the Christian faith's teachings on chastity and modesty. The same goes for the tradition of hanging ornaments. Pagan Romans used to hang ornaments to honor their gods. By adopting this tradition, are Christians inadvertently paying homage to these ancient deities? Then there's the decoration with holly. This tradition stems from the pagan practice of decorating their homes with evergreen plants during the winter solstice to ward off evil spirits and celebrate the return of the sun. In Christianity, the holly is often associated with the crown of thorns worn by Jesus. Yet its origins are steeped in a belief system that Christianity fundamentally rejects. Let's not forget about Santa Claus, the jolly old man who's become synonymous with Christmas. His origins can be traced back to Odin, the Norse god, and Saint Nicholas, who was the patron saint of children and prostitutes. The modern image of Santa Claus is far removed from these figures. But the fact remains, the character we've come to associate with Christian festivities has roots in pagan beliefs and practices. Now let's think about the implications of borrowing traditions from paganism on the Christian faith. It raises questions about the originality and authenticity of the Christian practices. If these traditions were borrowed and adapted, what does it say about the faith that adopted them? Does it dilute the essence of Christianity, or does it point to a more syncretic approach to faith, one that incorporates elements from different belief systems? The potential disrespect to Jesus is another aspect to consider. If Jesus' birthday was not on December 25th, but this date was chosen to align with pagan festivals, it could be seen as a way of taking away from the significance of Jesus' birth. It's almost as if the celebration of Jesus' birth is secondary to the celebration of these pagan deities. Furthermore, the decision by Pope Julius I to align Jesus' birthday with the winter solstice and the birthday of the unconquerable sun could be seen as a strategic move to gain the acceptance of pagan converts. But it also raises questions about the motivations behind this decision. Was it a genuine attempt to integrate the Christian faith with existing traditions? Or was it a calculated move to expand the influence of the Church? Finally, we come to the most significant implication. If Christianity borrowed these traditions from paganism, it begs the question, is the text of the Bible borrowed from other ancient cultures? After all, if the rituals and traditions were adapted from other cultures, it's not far-fetched to think that the same could be true for the religious texts. This is a controversial idea, to say the least, and it's one that challenges the very foundations of the Christian faith. The question then arises, is the text of the Bible borrowed from other ancient cultures? The date of Jesus' birth is a topic of much debate. Scholars and historians have proposed various dates throughout the year, each with its own set of reasonings and supporting evidence. Let's delve into the mystery surrounding Jesus' birth date and how it came to be aligned with pagan festivals. Firstly, January 6th. This date is recognized in many Eastern Orthodox churches as the Epiphany, marking Jesus' baptism and the visit of the Magi. Advocates for this date argue that it's more plausible given the timeline of events documented in the Bible. Next, let's consider April 17th. Some researchers using astronomical charts and biblical references suggest Jesus was born under the sign of Aries, the lamb. This would place his birth in the spring, a time of renewal and new beginnings. March 28th is another proposed date. It's believed that early Christians might have symbolically aligned Jesus' conception and death, both occurring in late March, according to this theory. Thus, adding 9 months to late March leads us to a late December birth. September 11th is a more recent and controversial theory based on the alignment of stars described in the Book of Revelation. However, this theory is less accepted in academic circles due to its speculative nature. Despite these varied theories, the universally recognized date remains December 25th. But why? Enter Pope Julius I, who in the 4th century declared this date as the official celebration of Jesus' birth. But his choice was not random. It was a strategic decision to align the birth of Jesus with existing pagan festivals. During this period, Romans celebrated Saturnalia in honor of Saturn, the god of agriculture. This festival was marked by feasting, gift-giving, and a temporary societal role reversal where slaves were served by their masters. December 25th was also the climax of the winter solstice festival, Brumalia, and the birthday of the invincible sun, a popular sun god. Pope Julius's decision to align Jesus' birth with these celebrations was a calculated move. It allowed early Christians to participate in popular festivities without facing persecution, while simultaneously transforming these pagan traditions into a celebration of Jesus' birth. This decision was not without controversy, as it raised questions about the authenticity of Christian traditions. Were they merely repackaged pagan customs? Moreover, one of the epithets of Jesus is the Son of Justice. So, celebrating his birth on the same day as the sun, God's birthday, could be seen as a parchment. But it also further blurs the line between Christian and pagan traditions. The Pope's decision also had far-reaching implications. It allowed for the absorption of various pagan symbols and rituals into the Christian celebration. The Romans' use of ornaments and decorations during Saturnalia finds a mirror in today's Christmas trees, adorned with baubles and tinsel. The Norse tradition of Yule, which involved a feast and the burning of a log, transformed into the Christian Yule log tradition. The decision to align Jesus' birth with pagan celebrations was a turning point in the history of Christmas. It allowed for a seamless integration of Christian and pagan traditions, creating the festive season we know today. But it also sparked a debate that continues to this day. How much of our Christian traditions are rooted in paganism? And what does this say about the authenticity of these traditions? The alignment of Jesus' birth with pagan celebrations raises questions about the authenticity of Christian traditions. As we peel back the layers of history, we find that the lines between pagan and Christian customs are not as clear-cut as we might think. The debate over Jesus' birth date serves as a reminder of this intricate tapestry of traditions that have interwoven over the centuries to create the holiday season we celebrate today. The exploration of the pagan roots of Christmas traditions has led us to some startling revelations. But Christmas isn't the only Christian holiday that has deep pagan roots. Let's take a look at Easter.
If you enjoy our content, we'd love your support. By joining one of our channel memberships, you help us continue creating videos like this one while gaining access to some amazing perks. As a member, you'll unlock exclusive content available only to supporters, earn loyalty badges to show off in comments and live chats, and enjoy priority responses to your comments, shoutouts, and more. The best part? Memberships start at just $2.99 a month, less than a cup of coffee. Even small contributions make a big difference for the PJ Bible TV team in covering production costs and delivering the content you love. And if you're not ready to become a channel member today but still want to support us, there are other ways to help. Engaging with our videos is a tremendous way to show your support. By taking just a few moments to like the video, share it with friends, family, or on social media, and leave a comment, you're telling the YouTube algorithm to share our content with more people. Your support, no matter how you choose to show it, means the world to us. Thank you for being part of the PJ Bible TV community.